Hello, BookTube, and welcome back. So it's November, and there's a new BookTube event. I say new, it might not actually be new. It's new to me. It's new to me. And for the whole of November, we're going to read all things spy. So anything to do with spies or espionage, it doesn't matter whether it's fiction or non-fiction. Just get some spy stuff in this month. I think it's called the actual booktube event is called Doctor No-vember after Doctor No from James Bond. Right, Sean Connery, James Bond. Doctor No, you're completely mad. That's my best Sean Connery. There you go. Threw that in there free of charge. So yeah, just read any book to do with espionage, spies at any point in November to get involved in this booktube event. So I've actually read I think four so far. I think I'm done now. So the first one I read was by Shaun Walker, and it's The Illegals. I'm gonna have to tap down because I can never ever remember subtitles on books, and this one's got a massive subtitle. Okay, so here we go. It's The Illegals, Russia's most audacious spies and their century-long mission to infiltrate the West. So this is getting uh, Russians, everyday Russians. I'm throwing them somewhere in the West, the UK, the US, Canada, just infiltrating them where they'll stay for a long, long time, years. So they'll be proper embedded in the country of where the KGB had sent them, or later the FSB. So literally, some of them have been there for 20 years, just sleeper cells, I believe, waiting for their opportune moment to come alive at the request of the intelligence agency at the time. So this book pretty much is chronological. So it starts off pretty much straight after the Tsars had been disposed and the Soviet Union under the control of the Bolsheviks and Lenin and eventually Stalin, and how pretty much the West didn't really want to integrate or play with the Soviet Union at the time, so they sent their own spies over to the West to gain trade secrets or how they actually fought with the Soviet Union. So as I said, it follows the kind of like the operational side of things chronologically, and talks about the best known infiltrators of the West. And I believe the best known infiltrator of the West was just around this time of Stalin, and they kind of made it their best spy in the great pages that Stalin had just before the Second World War to rid the Soviet Union of anything to do with the West or the bourgeoisie. So they killed the best spy who proper did infiltrate the West. Yeah, and it goes from Stalin, sleeper cells in Germany, West Germany, Italy, France, the UK, Canada, the States. I don't think it touches more Australia or New Zealand or Japan or anything like that. It's pretty much Europe and North America, and not just Western Europe at the time as well. Eastern Europe talks a lot how they kind of didn't trust their own citizens, obviously, and in Hungary or what is now Ukraine, Latvia, Estonia. They wanted to know what was going on in those satellite countries, and East Germany as well. They didn't want East Germans fraternising too much with the West Germans. And yeah, it goes all the way up to the collapse of the Soviet Union, and how the sleeper cells in those countries are pretty much left to do whatever they wanted to do. They kind of forgotten until the rise of Putin, where they pretty much reined them back in again. So yeah, this is pretty much that kind of a book. It's very probably quick. It's very quick. It's not overly detailed. That's probably my main criticism of this book. I wanted something I can proper sink my teeth into. It's very much like a journey book, you know, something you can put in your backpack, you know, and read it read it on the go. It's very much that kind of a book. With all books like this as well, you know, it's very much evidence, and you know, what we know is very limited, as the Russians have not opened the libraries up about the sleeper cells because they've probably got some in the countries in the West right now. Now, that just blows my mind, by the way, how, you know, somebody that can live in a country for 20, 25 years, but be a complete sleeper cell for another country who we're not friendly with. Imagine living that double life. Oof. Yeah, there's loads of TV series about this as well. But anyway, going back to the book, it's a well done book. It could have been better, in my opinion. It doesn't really like to talk about the because some of these spies had kids in the West as well, with sometimes the KGB wife or husband, and doesn't really focus on what the kids for, you know, because they didn't even know what the parents were doing, you know. I wish I delved into that a little bit more, but again, it's very, very, you know, serviceable. It's a horrible way to describe something. It's good, you know. It's interesting. Well, you know, if you clicked onto this video, you've got some sort of interest in espionage, I guess. But it is really well done, and you can probably, after the Second World War, you can kind of read it between the lines of this. It wasn't really working out. This is somewhat of a failure, because, as I said, the best spy that they had was pre-World War II until they killed them, and then they had like double agents of the MI6 fella who was selling secrets to the Russians, and you had the Manhattan Project spy selling the nuclear secrets to the Russians as well. But after that, the sleeper cells was kind of a fart in the wind. They didn't do pretty much anything, and after a while, you know, they pretty much settled into being a complete Westerner themselves, rather than, you know, being committing to the communist cause. So yes, this is a pretty okay book. Okay, there's another horrible word. It's a good book. It is a good book of a history of sleeper cells, Russian sleeper cells, from, you know, just the end of the First World War up into modern day times, and how it hasn't really changed in how they do this, and it hasn't really, from what we know, they have worked out. They haven't done that much as of yet, like the coups and all that kind of stuff, which the West has done quite all over the place. But yeah, if you want a book on Russian espionage on into the West, you pick up this book. It is quite interesting how they were able to fake passports, you know, and take people who had died and be them, you know, in whatever country they settled in. So yeah, so that's the first book that I read in the Dr. No-vember. That was poor Sean Connery. Dr. No-vember. Here we go. That was slightly better this month. I've read, I think, 3 more, and I think I'll call it quits then. All non-fiction, by the way, folks. I was going to read some... I'm rambling now. I was going to read some James Bond novels, but I can't be bothered. So that's the first one. Give it up. Give it a look if you're interested. That's The Illegals by Shaun Walker. It's an okay book about espionage, Russian espionage, for 40, 50 years. Oh, it'd be more than that, wouldn't it? It's 100 years? No. It's over 100 years, and how they infiltrated the West. Okay, folks, and that's it from me, and I'll see you soon. Bye, BookTube.